it's a fascinating opportunity to take a look at the carbon tax debate. As you guys all know, Washington voters have not been very friendly in the last few years to carbon tax initiatives. And so we had the 2013 effort that was a true carbon neutral tax. That got hammered, 59.3% to 40 some odd percent. 2018, the citizens groups made another swipe at it. That was a larger tax, not as neutral as 2016's effort, and that got hammered as well. So it puts Washington, frankly, in a bit of an identity crisis. Here we are, the evergreen state. We've got a lot of folks that are very environmentally conscious and aware, and yet we can't seem to get the voters to look at options to, shall we say, better influence behavior, right? We want to incentivize the behavior we seek. So looking at CCL's bipartisan solution on this dividend, the carbon dividend, I think is interesting. And I talked to one of the policy directors here in Washington State, and he said, you know what, I think that they've got something there. And he was even supportive of it. Why? Because it is a little bit more market-based and citizen-focused, and I think it might gain some traction if we flesh out some details. Of course, it's a national piece of legislation. What we do in Pierce County could be cheerleading, but we really need to focus on our federal delegation and weigh in at that level for that. But to answer your specific question, I am interested in it, and I think it is something that might be very plausible and might be a good next step. I'm a little concerned about some of the details. I don't know if the dividend would be paid pro rata or it would be paid in a progressive way based on how much one paid in, or if it would be kind of a flat dividend. And so that's something that people have to kind of weigh in on as we move that legislation forward. But I think it's attractive to people. What a detriment might be is, like many things in government, if there is a particular pot of money that's created, politicians might say, that's a pot of money we could perhaps use in times of crisis for something else, and then it gets diverted. And so we have to kind of make sure that there's sufficient bumpers and lanes on the money to ensure that the public, in order to gain their trust by voting for it and supporting it, that the money would be set aside and would come back to them in the form of a dividend and not be diverted by excessive administrative costs and overhead or just government largesse for other project needs. So I think if we can work through some issues, I think it's got some legs.